Best part of my job is working with my family every day, and the worst part of my job is working with my family.
Right.
If you've ever watched Pawn Stars, you know Corey Harrison. He's the big guy with the quick wit, the sharp negotiating skills, and the unmistakable presence behind the counter at the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop in Las Vegas. For years, Corey, known to fans as Big Hoss, has been a central figure on the show, navigating the daily chaos of the pawn business alongside his father Rick and his late grandfather Richard Oldman Harrison. But behind the jokes, the banter, and the deals, there's a side of Corey's story that most viewers never see. It's a story marked by heartbreak, loss, and a series of tragedies that have tested him in ways no reality TV script could ever capture. This is the real, unfiltered story of Corey Harrison, the heartbreaks he's endured, the battles he's fought, and the resilience that's kept him going when everything seemed to fall apart. Corey Harrison was born into the pawn business. From the time he could walk, he was surrounded by the clatter of coins, the gleam of gold, and the endless stream of customers looking to make a deal. The Gold and Silver Pawn Shop wasn't just a family business, it was the center of Corey's world. He grew up learning the trade from his grandfather, a Navy veteran with a no-nonsense attitude, and his father Rick, whose sharp mind and relentless work ethic set the tone for the entire operation. For Corey, the shop was more than a job, it was a legacy, a responsibility, and a source of pride. But growing up in the shadow of two larger-than-life figures wasn't always easy. Corey often felt the weight of expectation pressing down on him. He wanted to prove himself, to show his family and the world that he was more than just the boss's son. That drive pushed him to work harder, to learn every aspect of the business, and to earn his place behind the counter. By the time Pawn Stars premiered in 2009, Corey was already a key player in the shop, handling everything from high-stakes negotiations to the day-to-day grind of running a family business. The show's success changed everything. Almost overnight, Corey went from being a local businessman to a national celebrity. Fans recognized him on the street, asked for autographs, and followed his every move on social media. The fame brought new opportunities, but it also brought new pressures. Suddenly, every mistake, every argument, every personal struggle was on display for millions to see. Corey found himself living in a fishbowl, his life dissected by fans and critics alike. But the real challenges Corey faced weren't just about fame or family dynamics, they were about loss, deep personal loss that would shape the course of his life. One of the earliest and most profound tragedies Corey endured was the death of his grandfather, Richard Harrison, in 2000. Known to fans as the Old Man, Richard was the heart and soul of the pawn shop. His gruff exterior hid a deep well of wisdom and love, especially for his grandson. Corey often spoke about the lessons he learned from his grandfather, the importance of honesty, hard work, and never taking shortcuts. When Richard passed away after a long battle with Parkinson's disease, Corey was devastated. The loss wasn't just personal, it was professional. The shop felt emptier, the show lost some of its magic, and Corey was left to navigate a world without the man who had taught him everything he knew. But that was only the beginning. In the years that followed, Corey faced a series of setbacks that would test his strength and resilience. He struggled with his health, battling weight issues that had plagued him since childhood. At his heaviest, Corey weighed over 400 pounds, a fact that became a frequent topic of discussion both on and off the show. The pressure to change, combined with the scrutiny of being in the public eye, took a toll on his mental and physical health. Corey eventually underwent gastric band surgery, losing over 200 pounds and transforming his appearance. But the journey was far from easy. The weight loss brought its own set of challenges, from dealing with loose skin to adjusting to a new lifestyle. Through it all, Corey remained determined to take control of his health, not just for himself but for his family and his future. Corey's battle with his weight was more than just a physical transformation, it was a deeply emotional journey. For years he had used humor as a shield, deflecting comments about his size with quick comebacks and self-deprecating jokes. But behind the laughter was a young man struggling with insecurity, self-doubt, and the constant fear of not measuring up. The decision to undergo weight loss surgery wasn't just about looking better on TV, it was about survival. Corey knew that if he didn't make a change, his health and his life were at risk. The surgery was a turning point, but it also forced Corey to confront the emotional scars that years of public scrutiny had left behind. As Corey's body changed, so did his relationships. Fame had already put a strain on his personal life, and the pressures of the pawn business only made things more complicated. Corey's first marriage ended in divorce, a painful chapter that played out in the tabloids and on social media. The split was messy, with rumors swirling about infidelity, money troubles, and the challenges of balancing work and family. Corey rarely spoke publicly about the divorce, choosing instead to focus on his son, whom he described as his greatest source of strength and motivation. Being a father gave Corey a new sense of purpose, but it also brought new worries. He wanted to be a better man for his son, to break the cycle of pain and disappointment that had haunted his own life. But just as Corey was starting to find his footing, tragedy struck again. In 2014, Corey was involved in a serious motorcycle accident that nearly cost him his life. He was riding his Harley-Davidson on a Las Vegas street when a car ran a red light and slammed into him. The impact threw Corey from his bike, leaving him with a broken arm, multiple injuries, and a long road to recovery. The accident was a wake-up call, a reminder of how quickly life can change and how fragile even the strongest among us can be. Corey later admitted that the crash forced him to reevaluate his priorities, to slow down, and to appreciate the people who mattered most. The pain didn't end there. In the years that followed, Corey faced a series of legal and financial challenges that threatened to unravel everything he had worked for. The pawn business, once a source of stability, became a battleground. Corey found himself at odds with his father, Rick, over the direction of the shop and the future of the family legacy. The tension between father and son was palpable, both on and off camera. Fans watched as Corey pushed for more responsibility, more control, and more respect, while Rick struggled to let go of the reins. The power struggle played out in front of millions, but the real wounds were inflicted behind closed doors. Through it all, Corey tried to keep his sense of humor. He joked about the ups and downs of fame, the quirks of the pawn business, and the challenges of working with family, but those closest to him knew that the laughter often masked deeper pain. Corey was haunted by the fear of failure, the weight of expectation, and the constant pressure to live up to his family's name. He worried about letting his son down, about disappointing his grandfather's memory, and about losing himself in the process. Despite the heartbreak, Corey refused to give up. He leaned on his friends, his family, and his fans for support. He found solace in the simple pleasures of life, riding his motorcycle, spending time with his son, and finding moments of peace in a world that never seemed to slow down. Corey's resilience became his greatest asset, a testament to his ability to endure, adapt, and keep moving forward no matter what life threw his way. But the tragedies Corey faced weren't just personal, they were also professional. The pawn business itself was changing, and Corey had to fight to keep the shop relevant in a world where online sales and big-box retailers threatened to make places like gold and silver obsolete. The pressure to innovate, to stay ahead of the curve, and to protect his family's legacy was relentless. Corey's determination to keep the family business alive became a new kind of battle, one that demanded not just business savvy but emotional strength. The Gold and Silver Pawn Shop was more than just a store. It was a symbol of the Harrison family's resilience, a place where generations had weathered economic storms, personal losses, and the ever-changing tides of Las Vegas itself. Corey knew that every decision he made would be scrutinized, not just by his father and the staff, but by millions of viewers who felt invested in the shop's future. The pressure was immense, and the stakes were higher than ever. As the years went by, Corey found himself taking on more responsibility. He modernized the shop's inventory system, pushed for better marketing, and advocated for expanding the business into new areas, including online sales and branded merchandise. But every step forward seemed to come with new challenges. The pawn industry was facing unprecedented competition from e-commerce giants and a changing economy. Corey had to balance tradition with innovation, honoring the values his grandfather instilled while also pushing the business into the 21st century. It was a delicate dance, and not everyone agreed with his vision. The tension between Corey and his father, Rick, became a recurring theme both on and off the show. Rick, a self-made businessman with a sharp eye for detail, was reluctant to relinquish control. He had built the shop from the ground up, and he wasn't ready to let go. Corey, on the other hand, was eager to prove himself, to show that he could lead the business into a new era. The resulting clashes were sometimes explosive, with arguments spilling over from the shop floor to family dinners. But beneath the conflict was a deep bond, a shared love for the business, and a mutual respect that, despite everything, never truly faded. The loss of his grandfather continued to cast a long shadow over Corey's life. Richard "Old Man" Harrison had been the family's anchor, the voice of reason in times of chaos. His absence left a void that was impossible to fill. Corey often spoke about how much he missed his grandfather's guidance, his humor, and his unwavering support. The grief was compounded by the public nature of Richard's passing. Fans from around the world sent messages of condolence, but the outpouring of love was a double-edged sword. It was comforting, but it also made the loss feel even more real, more permanent. Corey's personal life remained complicated. After his first divorce, he remarried, hoping for a fresh start and a chance at happiness. But the pressures of fame, business, and personal demons proved too much. His second marriage ended in divorce as well, another painful chapter in a life already marked by loss. Corey rarely spoke about the details, preferring to keep his private struggles out of the spotlight. But those close to him knew that the heartbreak ran deep. He worried about the impact on his son, about the example he was setting, and about whether he would ever find lasting peace. Despite everything, Corey never lost his sense of humor. He continued to be a fan favorite on Pawn Stars, known for his quick wit, his willingness to take risks, and his ability to find the silver lining in even the darkest situations. He became a symbol of resilience, proof that it was possible to endure tragedy and still find reasons to smile. Corey's story resonated with viewers because it was real, messy, complicated, and deeply human. But the tragedies Corey faced weren't just about loss, they were also about growth. Each setback forced him to reevaluate his priorities, to focus on what truly mattered, and to find strength in the face of adversity. He learned to lean on his friends, to ask for help when he needed it, and to accept that it was okay not to have all the answers. Corey's journey became a testament to the power of perseverance, a reminder that even in the darkest times there is always hope. As Corey looked to the future, he knew that more challenges lay ahead. The pawn business would continue to evolve, and the pressures of fame would never fully disappear. But he was determined to honor his family's legacy, to be a good father to his son, and to keep moving forward no matter what. Corey's journey through heartbreak and adversity is a story that goes far beyond the walls of the gold and silver pawn shop. It's a story about what it means to be human in the face of relentless public scrutiny, and how even the strongest among us can be brought to our knees by loss, disappointment, and the weight of expectation. For Corey, the shop was always a place of comfort, a constant in a world that seemed to change overnight. But as the years passed, he realized that true strength wasn't just about keeping the business afloat or making the next big deal. It was about facing his own vulnerabilities, learning from his mistakes, and finding the courage to keep going when everything seemed to be falling apart. The reality of being a public figure is that every misstep, every personal tragedy, becomes fodder for gossip and speculation. Corey learned this the hard way. When his marriages ended, the tabloids pounced, spinning stories that often bore little resemblance to the truth. When he struggled with his weight, the internet was quick to judge, offering unsolicited advice and cruel commentary. Even his motorcycle accident became a headline, with fans and critics alike weighing in on his choices and his future. Through it all, Corey tried to maintain his dignity, refusing to let the negativity define him. One of the most heartbreaking moments in Corey's life came not from the outside world, but from within his own family. The passing of his grandfather was a blow that left Corey reeling, but it also brought to the surface old wounds and unresolved tensions. The reading of Richard Harrison's will became a public spectacle, with rumors swirling about who would inherit what, and whether Corey had been left out. The truth was more complicated. While Corey did receive a share of his grandfather's estate, the process was a painful reminder of how money and legacy can drive wedges between even the closest relatives. Corey spoke candidly about the experience, admitting that it forced him to confront his own fears about the future and his place in the family. Despite the pain, Corey found ways to honor his grandfather's memory. He kept the shop running, upheld the values Richard had instilled, and made sure that the lessons he learned were passed down to the next generation. Corey's relationship with his father, Rick, also evolved. The two men, once locked in a battle for control, began to find common ground. They learned to respect each other's strengths, to forgive each other's mistakes, and to work together for the good of the business and the family. It wasn't always easy, but it was real, a testament to the power of love, forgiveness, and the unbreakable bonds of family. Corey's resilience became an inspiration to fans around the world. People saw themselves in his struggles, his setbacks, and his determination to keep moving forward. He received letters from viewers who had faced their own tragedies, who found hope in Corey's story, and who wanted to thank him for his honesty and his courage. Corey never took that support for granted. He knew that his platform came with responsibility, and he used it to advocate for mental health awareness, addiction recovery, and the importance of seeking help when life becomes overwhelming. Through all the heartbreak, Corey discovered a new sense of purpose. He realized that his story could make a difference, that by sharing his pain, he could help others heal. He became more open about his struggles, more willing to talk about the dark times, and more committed to breaking the stigma around mental health. Corey's journey was no longer just about survival, it was about growth, transformation, and the power of vulnerability. As the years went on, Corey continued to face challenges. The pawn business remained unpredictable, the pressures of fame never fully faded, and the wounds of the past sometimes reopened. But Corey had learned to weather the storms, to find strength in his scars, and to keep his eyes on the future. His story is a reminder that tragedy does not have to define us, that even in our darkest moments, we can find hope, healing, and the courage to begin again. Corey's evolution from a young man struggling to find his place in the family business to a symbol of resilience and hope is a journey that continues to inspire. The lessons he's learned about loss, forgiveness, and the importance of staying true to oneself are woven into every aspect of his life. Even as the cameras kept rolling and the world watched his every move, Corey found ways to reclaim his narrative, to define himself on his own terms, and to use his platform for good. One of the most significant changes in Corey's life came when he decided to focus on giving back. He began to use his fame not just to promote the pawn shop, but to support causes close to his heart. Corey became involved in local charities, supporting organizations that help veterans, children in need, and those struggling with addiction. He spoke openly about his own battles, encouraging others to seek help and reminding them that it's okay to ask for support. Corey's willingness to be vulnerable, to share his story without shame, made him a powerful advocate for change. The pawn shop itself became a symbol of second chances. Corey often spoke about how every item that came through the door had a story, sometimes of loss, sometimes of hope, and sometimes of redemption. He saw the shop as a place where people could find a fresh start, whether they were pawning a family heirloom to pay the bills or selling a treasured possession to chase a new dream. Corey's empathy for his customers, his understanding of their struggles, and his respect for their stories set him apart in an industry often seen as cold or transactional. But Corey's journey was not without setbacks. The pressures of running a business, maintaining a public image, and dealing with personal demons sometimes became overwhelming. There were moments when Corey considered walking away, when the weight of expectation felt too heavy to bear. But each time he found a reason to stay, a reminder of his grandfather's legacy, a word of encouragement from a fan, or a quiet moment with his son. These small but powerful moments helped Corey keep going, even when the path ahead seemed uncertain. Corey's relationship with his son became a central focus of his life. He wanted to be the kind of father who was present, supportive, and loving, the kind of father he sometimes wished he'd had during his own struggles. Corey made a conscious effort to break the cycle of pain and disappointment, to create a home filled with laughter, understanding, and unconditional love. He spoke about the joy of watching his son grow, the pride he felt in his accomplishments, and the hope he had for his future. For Corey, being a father was both a responsibility and a gift, a chance to build something lasting and meaningful. As Corey continued to navigate the ups and downs of life, he found strength in his community. The fans who had watched him grow up on television became a source of support, encouragement, and inspiration. Corey often said that the letters he received from viewers sharing their own stories of heartbreak and resilience reminded him that he was not alone. The connection he felt with his audience was real, and it gave him the motivation to keep sharing his journey, no matter how difficult it became. The legacy of the Harrison family lives on in the gold and silver pawn shop, a testament to the power of perseverance, hard work, and the unbreakable bonds of family. Corey's story is a reminder that tragedy and triumph often go hand in hand, that the darkest moments can lead to the brightest new beginnings, and that true strength is found not in never falling, but in always getting back up. As Corey looks to the future, he does so with a sense of hope and determination. He knows that more challenges will come, that life will continue to test him, and that the journey is far from over. But he also knows that he has the tools, the support, and the inner strength to face whatever comes next. Corey Harrison's story is far from finished, and for fans around the world, that's a reason to keep watching, keep believing, and keep hoping for better days ahead. Corey Harrison's life in many ways is a reflection of the American experience, full of highs and lows, unexpected turns, and the constant struggle to find meaning in the face of adversity. The heartbreaks he's endured have shaped him, but they have never defined him. Instead, Corey has chosen to use his pain as fuel for growth, his setbacks as lessons, and his platform as a way to connect with others who are fighting their own battles. The story of Corey Harrison is not just about tragedy, it's about transformation, resilience, and the enduring power of hope. As the years have passed, Corey has become more than just a reality TV star. He's become a symbol of perseverance, a reminder that even the most public figures are human, with struggles and scars that run deeper than what's shown on screen. The gold and silver pawn shop remains a Las Vegas landmark, but for Corey, it's also a place of healing, a space where he can honor his family's legacy while forging his own path. The lessons he learned from his grandfather and father continue to guide him, but Corey is no longer content to simply follow in their footsteps. He's determined to leave his own mark, to build a future that reflects his values, and to show his son that it's possible to rise above even the darkest moments. One of the most powerful aspects of Corey's journey is his willingness to be vulnerable. In a world that often rewards bravado and punishes weakness, Corey has chosen to share his struggles openly, to admit when he's hurting, and to seek help when he needs it. This honesty has resonated with fans, many of whom have faced their own tragedies and found comfort in Corey's story. By breaking the silence around issues like mental health, addiction, and grief, Corey has helped to create a community of support, a place where people can come together, share their stories, and find hope in the knowledge that they are not alone. The impact of Corey's openness can be seen in the countless messages he receives from fans around the world. People write to him about their own losses, their own battles with addiction, their own struggles to find meaning in a world that can sometimes feel overwhelming. Corey reads these messages, responds when he can, and carries their stories with him as a reminder of why he continues to share his own. The connection he feels with his audience is real, and it gives him the strength to keep moving forward even when the road ahead is uncertain. Looking back, Corey can see how each tragedy, each heartbreak, has helped to shape the man he is today. The loss of his grandfather taught him the value of family and the importance of legacy. His struggles with weight and health forced him to confront his own mortality and to make changes that would allow him to be there for his son. The pain of divorce and the challenges of fame taught him humility, empathy, and the importance of staying true to himself. Through it all, Corey has learned that life is not about avoiding pain, but about finding the courage to face it head-on, to learn from it, and to use it as a catalyst for growth. As Corey looks to the future, he does so with a sense of optimism and determination. He knows that there will be more challenges, more setbacks, and more moments of doubt, but he also knows that he has the strength, the support, and the resilience to overcome whatever comes his way. The story of Corey Harrison is far from over, and for fans of Pawn Stars and the millions who have followed his journey, that's a reason to keep watching, keep believing, and keep hoping. In the end, Corey's greatest legacy may not be the deals he's made or the treasures he's uncovered, but the lives he's touched through his honesty, his vulnerability, and his unwavering commitment to growth. His story is a testament to the power of the human spirit, the importance of family, and the belief that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you can always get back up. The heartbreaking tragedies Corey Harrison has faced are real, but so is his hope, and that hope is what continues to inspire people around the world.